we're about to get this thing started. So firstly, we want to welcome Ms. Francine Adams, candidate for City Council for District Number 3. How you doing today? Oh, can't hear you. That ain't good.
That's not good.
All
Good
right.
evening.
All right, there you go.
Okay, I'm great. How are you doing tonight, Hodo?
Oh, not bad.
Good.
All right. Now, what made you want to run for City Council?
Well, I'm running this year because it's our first district race. I am from District 3. I've been there over 30 years. And we need somebody that's going to advocate for us, somebody that's financially responsible, someone that will make the tough decisions, whether it's the popular decision or not. And I am that person. My platform, you know, this election, there's no way anybody can avoid the blight, the crime, and jobs. That's going to be everyone's platform. Now, the key is what they plan to do to address those three issues. One thing that I am doing is community cleanups. I have a project called You Don't Have to Be Rich to Be Clean. That's the lesson my great-grandmother taught me, and it's a lesson we need to share with those who obviously did not get it. District 3 is a low to moderate income community, and we have a lot of dump sites. So every weekend from April through the end of September, we will be doing community cleanups throughout the District 3 area. Another thing that I am planning to do is a project that is, we're doing a tire sweep. You know, if you ride around the District 3 community, you will see entire yards and entire commercial lots that are full of tires. So that would go a long way to improve the visual aesthetics of our community. As a city council candidate, I believe entrepreneurship is going to be important. We lived in a community where our business owners lived where they had their businesses, and I would like to bring that back. We have a lot of people with felonies that are not employable through traditional means. If you can't find a job, you should make a job, a legal, legitimate, taxable job. So finding out what businesses we need in our community and finding people who need employment, finding out what their talents are, and putting the two together with our commercial, vacant commercial properties is going to be important.
All right. Now, give you an opportunity to tell the people why and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Now, do you know anything about ALEC?
I've heard of ALEC.
Do you know anything about it?
Political funding, yeah.
Are you a member of ALEC?
I am not.
You gotta talk right into the mic so we can hear
I
you.
am not.
You are not.
I am not a member of ALEC
Okay.
or any other political committee.
No PACs?
No.
All right. A lot of the people in these races say, as you said earlier, pretty much the same stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we know that you're not part of the usual suspects?
Have you ever heard of me?
That doesn't mean anything.
Seen me in the company of those suspects?
That don't mean anything.
So.
Because a lot of the ones, like we didn't see Charles Pugh or James Tate, or what I'm saying, as far as in the company of some,
Right.
you know,
No.
they portrayed them, so James Tate, Charles Pugh, Santil Jenkins, you know, the Fab Five.
Right.
They pretty much portrayed themselves as everyday people too, and they didn't necessarily vote in the right way for me or you.
I've spent the last 15 to 20 years of my life actually working to change the lives of individuals, families,
How
and
did you do that?
communities. I'm a licensed master social worker.
Okay, you're a social worker.
I've been with the state for 15 years, working in child welfare. I've been a foster and adoptive parent, a semi-independent living host provider, and I own my own businesses.
Okay,
So,
what kind of businesses do you
I have
own?
a print company, a art business, I do real estate. I've had a catering company. I've done private duty nursing. So I've been busy,
Okay,
so actually making a difference in the community.
okay. Now, through the catering and that kind of, those business endeavors, you possibly have made yourself very successful in that because you've been doing it a while.
I'm comfortable.
Okay, now, what have you been doing directly for the community?
Well, I've written grants for block clubs. You know, I do random acts of kindness.
Like
you
what?
know. I sponsored a group of kids just this year, group of girls from the Detroit International Academy to go see Alvin Ailey.
Okay.
You know, that's something, it was important for for the girls to go and see that. I wanted them to see that dancing was more than twerking, you know. And so those that could not afford to go, I sponsored them
Okay.
to go. They went to the Detroit Zoo. And for some reason, the schools said they didn't have funding for the girls to take a school bus to the
Okay.
zoo. They were going to send these girls on a smart bus.
Interesting.
Right. And I made quite an issue with that because we just lent $12 million to the EAA.
We didn't lend that. We didn't lend that to them because, you know, when folks get your money and they say you lent it, but you didn't know that you lent it to them, that's called stealing.
Yeah.
Now, since you mentioned the EAA,
No.
are you one of those who support the EAA?
No.
Okay.
My child is a DPS, just like I was.
Okay.
So, you know, my issue was if we have money to lend to another school district, how do you not have money to put your kids on a school bus to send them on a field trip? So I sponsored the bus for them
Okay.
to make sure they were able to get there safely and back.
Okay,
to
now-
school.
Knowing the position that the state has put the city of Detroit in, and some may say the city of Detroit has been putting themselves in that state, with this EFM guy, and basically the city council people may very well not have any power to do too much of anything without daddy saying, okay, it's all right to do it. Why would you run?
Because even with everything that's going on down at the city-county building, there's still work that needs to be done in the community. And we need a leader, we need direction. We need somebody that we can go to help get our needs met without 9 people pointing their fingers at each other.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, the only thing about that is that you still have, even though you will be a district representative,
Right.
you still have to have the votes of all of the other council members in order to even get the stuff done in your district.
That's not necessarily. There are some things that can be done in the district that is outside of the council, and those are the sorts of things that I do now. People call me when there's a street light out, when their water pressure is low, when they've got abandoned cars. If there's a gas station with inappropriate material
But
on
those are
display
not,
for our
but those are
kids.
not city council jobs, though.
They're not.
So-
But it's still something that our community needs. When we have, part of city council's job is to address the concerns of the citizens.
Mhm.
And a lot of those concerns don't get addressed. You can go to the meetings, you can express your concerns, and go talk to this person.
How do you feel about that 2 minutes only allowing those who are your employers, if by chance you become a city councilwoman, those who are your employers only being allowed to talk to you for 2 minutes?
I don't agree with that. I
So-
mean, when people have problems or concerns, they need to be heard. You have to hear what they have to say in order to understand what their issue is, in order to work with them on a resolution.
Mhm.
You can't always get that out in 2 minutes.
Now,
So,
a lot of people have said over the years that the council and the mayor just can't seem to get along. Now, is it that the mayor and the council can't get along, or is it that none of them are really getting along? What would you say about that?
well, they get along well enough to vote against the things that we want,
Okay, well, and that seems like they're voting with the mayor then, huh?
pretty much.
So they did get along, so that's been a misnomer.
Exactly. It was a show. You know, a lot of those hearings, especially on major issues, was a show. The decisions were made before they even got to the table.
Okay, now that you hear about Kevin Orr about to sell off much of the merchandise from the Charles H. Wright, the Detroit Institute of Arts, as well as, you know, all of the museums, that kind of thing, what do you think about that?
I don't think it's going to happen
Why?
because the people that finance those that are in office aren't going to allow it to happen. They go to the DIA. They hold their functions there. Some of them finance the institution. Some of them donated the artwork. They're not going to allow it to be sold off.
How come? Because they don't have any decision in the matter. If Kevin Orr says it gotta go, gotta go.
Okay, Kevin Orr's a front man.
Okay, so you're talking about on the state level. You're not talking about on city politics.
Right.
Okay.
Kevin Orr will do what Kevin Orr is told to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they put Kevin Orr in place because Dave Bean couldn't do what they wanted done, you know.
Seem like you did what they wanted done. Stuff being sold off still.
No, not yet. So,
Okay.
I
So
mean-
so you're not necessarily were a supporter of Dave being there.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I didn't vote for him. I don't think anybody should have voted for him. I'm still waiting to find somebody who agreed that they did vote for him.
Okay. Now that you bring that up, a lot of people say that the clerk's office, the voting process has been flawed.
For
And-
years.
And if
for
this be
decades.
true, how do you make sure that if you're running for this position, that you in particularly are going to be elected?
Well, in the last election, the presidential election, I was a poll monitor. So
Mhm.
I was there until that last case was sealed, till the tallies came out and recorded it. I worked with Citizens for Detroit Future.
Okay. So
I
you were
won't-
working with Tom Barrow's people?
Right.
Okay.
For that particular cause, because our elections have been tampered with for so many years, not just under Janice Renfrey, but before, under Jackie Curry as well.
Mhm.
I don't know how far back
It
it
goes
goes,
back
but it
all the
goes
way
back a
to
long
the
way.
60s.
You know, so,
When Jackie Curry's husband got locked up back in the late 60s for tampering with the votes.
right.
And she
So-
was suspended for a few years and then allowed to come back and, teach them, the rest of them how to tamper with the votes.
Right, and that's something. So, yeah. So that was my contribution, was to be there and to monitor the polls on election
Now,
night.
before this year, city council was not by district.
Right.
Were you in favor or against council by
I'm in favor
district?
of council by districts. I'm running because it's council by district. If it was still at large, I wouldn't.
Why?
Because I like the ideal of being responsible for and responsible to a specific number of people in a specific area. When you lay your head somewhere every night, you're concerned about what's going on there.
Okay, exactly what is your district boundaries?
We run from 8 in John R. to 8 in Kelly, 7 in John R. to 7 in Gratiot, 6 in John R. to 6 in Conner, then we go down along Harbor back to 94, and then up along the Highland Park Hamtramck borders.
Now, that's a pretty big area to be in charge of. Now,
Right.
back in the 20s, there were 42 districts.
Okay.
And, it was much easier, well, it was easier for them to be manipulated, that's why they got rid of them. But having that much of an area, what do you expect your day to be like if by chance you're elected?
Well, the districts weren't done by land mass. They were done by the approximate number of citizens according to the 2010 census. So there supposedly was about 97,000 people in each district. But we
Mhm.
all know, we're bleeding people heavily. So those numbers are not accurate. But
But as far as land, the reason I asked you
Right.
that is because if by chance you are to be able to be basically the overseer of such a wide area, you got to travel that land mass in order to get to the people who may be sparse in some of them areas.
I do that now.
Okay.
So, I mean, with my job, I'm in and out of over 2,000 homes a year.
Mhm.
I cover all of Wayne County.
Yeah, but 2,000 is a far cry from 95,000.
2,000, in and out of 2,000 homes a year,
Mhm.
So I know better than anybody what's really going on in our homes and what our needs are. So right now, my days start at 5 in the morning, and they don't end till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
I really don't expect that to change. I plan to spend my days downtown, handling city council business, and then coming back into the community and holding community meetings at least on a weekly basis. Right now, my campaign office is the old neighborhood city hall on 7 Mile between Kona and DeQuinder. Once I'm elected, I intend for that office to become our District 3 council office, so the residents won't have to come all the way downtown to see me. They can come to the office and see me in the evening right in the neighborhood.
Okay, now you guys can call in 313-868-4336, 313-868-0351, 313-868-0342. We're going to keep Ms. Adams about 10 more minutes to take your calls, and we may be bringing her back, and we want to bring all of the council candidates from District 3 on, as well as District 2, 1, 5, 7, 4, and the rest of them, you know. If I miss one, so sad. And plus the 3 at large, which would be 2.
2 at large.
It might be 3 that I'm looking at, but anyway, at least somebody got to be, play the, the musical chair. Somebody gonna miss a chair.
All right.
So, all right. Now, where have these candidates forums been for the city council candidates? Because all I've been really hearing about is the ones for the mayor. Have they been having anything for you guys in District 3 to come to for them to peruse your talents?
Well, the slates have had two, Fannie Lou Hamer, the Black Slate, and the Eastside Community Slate. They scheduled 3 forums last week, was for districts 3, 4, and 5. The week before was districts 1, 5, and 7. And then this week, I believe, is districts 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
So the Election Commission is scheduling a forum geared towards the youth. There's a couple, and some of the block clubs
Now, the
or community
slates, I don't really
association.
put too much credibility with the slates
know.
because a lot of them have been corrupted for a long time, and all of them basically learn the same stuff from each other, and they pretty much all lean the same direction. Did they ask you anything about paying to be on any of those slates yet?
No,
Okay, not yet. Okay.
not yet. I've heard about it.
Yeah, well, you know, I ran once myself, so I understand this
Okay.
thing. Got a couple calls on hold, and I think I need to cut the phone lines up. As you look around the 3rd District, what are some of the things that are specific to the 3rd District that you see that need to be handled?
Well, the 3rd District has zip code 48205. 48205 has the highest homicide rate in the city, as well as one of the highest rates of child abuse and neglect complaints and foster care removals. So there is a need for services for the families. We need employment, we need to work on our education. I think we have far too many liquor stores and drug houses that need to be taken care of. So those are some of the things that need to be addressed. I mean, just off the top, we should not, I want to reduce our rate of homicides as well as foster care removals.
Okay, but that's, again, not your job as a council person. That's the mayor and the police chief's job, isn't it?
It should be.
Okay, well, let's go to the phone line. Caller, you in the air, go ahead.
Hey, good evening.
How you doing, man?
Good evening.
Hey, it's good to hear 2 great minds talking about such big topics that are of such importance to the community at this time.
Okay, do you have a question for Ms. Adams?
Yes. What are some things that you feel you can bring to the district in the 3rd District in terms of economic development to address some of the issues that you just talked about to those 95,000 people who would be your constituents in that area? And you sound like the perfect person for this particular job, ethically, morally, intellectually.
Okay, now you know my
Although
rules for the
you are
questions for the
great.
candidates. No cheerleading and no beating
Okay,
them up
no.
as legitimate questions. You have asked your legitimate questions. No cheerleading and no beating up the candidates.
Yes, sir.
All right, let her answer that question.
I thank you
Yes,
for the
sir.
cheerleading, though. We need encouragement. As I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship, you know, to address the needs of our felons. One thing is really, really important for us to know is that we have about 40,000 vacant homes in the city, and the city is only tearing down about 3,000. I would love to get all these guys together that's destroying our community and give them a legitimate purpose for what they're doing, because clearly they're really good at demolition work, right? You go to bed at night, the home is completely habitable, and you get up in the morning, it's ready for the demolition list. We need to get them together and let them finish what they've started, you know, so they can stop being destructive. Because the city can't tear down all the houses that need to be, or I'm not going to say it can't, they're not going to do it in a timely manner. Get the guys together and allow them to finish deconstructing these houses. Most things in a house can be recycled or repurposed, you know, so get them together, get them some trucks, let them come through one day and they can get the bricks. Come through another day, they can get the wood and whatever else.
How do you determine which ones need to be demolished?
The ones you can stand on the sidewalk and see through the roof of.
That doesn't
You
necessarily
know,
mean
the
it needs to
ones
be-
that
a lot of those can
can't be
redo-
rehabbed.
But it's kind of hard to determine. Do you have a background in construction?
I don't, but if it's leaning, if it's been set on fire, if they've stripped all usable things from it, if it's been open so long it's full of mold and mildew, you
Okay.
can't rehab those.
There you go. All right. Caller, you in the air. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, how you doing?
How are you?
Not
Good
bad.
evening.
All right. This is a very good friend of Mr. Hodo on the line. Mr. Hodo, how are you today?
Not bad. I don't know if I got no good friends. Who is this?
Yeah, this is Reggie Reg Davis.
What's up, man? You changing your voice. You don't usually be that soft-spoken, man. You usually be loud, man.
Yeah, man. So here's the deal. I appreciate what the sister's talking about. So I want to ask you, dear sister, in the city of Detroit, first I want to tell you that my place of business is right there in the district that you're running for.
I've been
And
there.
I think that as a candidate, I think you may be something good for us over there at Arthur Fay's restaurant. And I just want to say this, you know, in Detroit, especially over there in your district on the east side where we're at, in every corner, and you know this, Hodo, every single corner, it seems like in the city of Detroit, you got a liquor store, a Coney Island, and a church. Okay, think about it. Just about
And a
every
beauty
corner.
supply.
Not in that district, because over there by me, it's only one Coney
You
Island.
got a
on
you got a
Sunrise.
liquor store, a Coney Island, and a church. So they getting us high, they making us sick, and they brainwashing us. All in every corner is doing that.
Do you have
So-
what's your question for?
I want to ask you, what are you going to do about building small business in the city of Detroit, especially right there in your district on the east side, so that we can start to take our dollars and take them and let them develop for us. Let us be able to develop for ourselves as a black people instead
Okay.
of giving our money away to the church.
Let her answer that, Reg.
Right. Yeah, I do have an issue with the fact that our dollars don't circulate in our community. They come in and they go right back out, and I am a supporter and proponent of small businesses. I have been to your restaurant, Reg. One thing I plan to do is a District 3 community asset, so we can know every business, home-based and commercial, that's in our community. And from there, we can see what businesses we need and bring people in, whether they're preferably people that are already in the community. If not, bring people into the community to open those places up. I would love to be able to go to a restaurant and get something that's not going to give me a heart attack, you know? I mean, it's hard to find a salad somewhere other than Coney Island. You know,
I don't eat that stuff.
Right. I mean, I would love to have a smoothie bar in our community. You know, where can you get your shoes shine there? We don't.
Used to be a place on 6 Mile and Conant, but they've been closed a little while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so a shoe repair. So there's like some basic businesses that we used to have that we don't have anymore.
Now, how are you going to go about getting these things put there? You know, I think that was, he wanted to know like some foot to the ground kind of information. What are you going to do exactly?
Right.
Do
That's
you have
why
some
we
things?
start with the asset director to find out what we have there, because most small businesses don't have a marketing budget. And if we don't know you're there, we can't support you. So just doing the asset directory, and it's going to be online, it's going to be searchable, as well as a print directory. So we know what businesses we already have in our community, including the home-based businesses. We can start by getting the home-based businesses into commercial storefronts. Once that's done, then we can see what businesses, you know, do a
Now, once
survey
you
of the
get them to the
community.
storefront, some of the ones that are home-based, how do you make sure that they're going to be able to stay sustained? Because
We
there's a
have to
reason that they're at
support-
home.
We have to support our local businesses. We have to promote our local businesses. You know, if we don't know they're there, we can't support them. Some of them don't even have signage up on their storefronts. So you don't know what's going on inside that business. And if you did, you may patronize it. Now, at the same time, while we're going to support and promote our local businesses, they have to give us quality products and services. So I have a awareness campaign called Respect My Dollar, Support My Community. I don't go to places that treat me like I'm going to come in and steal. I don't support places that don't give me quality products, you know, or quality services. If I have to come in and, you know, the staff attitude is all horrid, I won't be back there. You know,
Okay.
I have a do not enter list.
Okay, let's go back to the phone line. Caller, kick it quick. It's you.
Would you be in favor of the city of Detroit wiring itself to have Wi-Fi citywide so people can into the 21st century and use the internet, whether they have a home-based business or just for their everyday use? It could be used for so many tools for everything. It's like we're still in the 20th century.
Okay, let's let her answer that, bro.
Right. I
Okay.
would love that. That is actually one of my ideas. I would love District 3 to be that pilot project, you know? Because we still have people that don't have telephones, they don't have internet, they don't have access to a lot of things.
Well, a lot of people don't have telephones because they got cell phones.
Some people don't, not everybody has cell phones, you know? But if we have Wi-Fi throughout our district, you can get Magic Jack for less than less than $2 a month.
Okay.
You know, and have access to phone service no matter where you are. It's better than a
Okay,
cell phone.
okay. Now, the parks and playgrounds in District 3, a lot of them are in shambles. Our DeQuinder, the grass was a little tall, and usually the people in DeQuinder would cut their own park.
And that's what we're gonna have to do.
So we're gonna have to take care of our own parks. The city won't do it anymore. Huh?
We are going to have to gather up our greatest resource, and that's our people. And we're gonna have to take care of our community. It's gonna be up to us.
What about the wear and tear on their lawnmowers and paying for the gasoline and all of that stuff?
You know, sometimes you got to sacrifice a little to get a lot.
Okay. So you say you're not in support of the EAA, which is a plus.
Right.
You know a little bit about ALEC. There are some things that are specific, as I asked this earlier about District 3. Choose one for your pet project.
I've already done that. It's the cleanup projects.
That's the cleanup.
It's the cleanup projects. When you live in an environment full of filth and blight, it brings you down. It's depressing. It causes you to lose your motivation. I go around the community. I have so many. I've confronted people stripping properties, and they was like, "Don't nobody care." I've gone into liquor stores to talk to them about the upkeep of their properties, and I've been told, "Look around, don't nobody care." I've had police officers tell me, "Nobody cares. Nothing's going to get done." I've had DPW workers tell me, "You fighting a losing battle." I'm gonna keep fighting. If I
Okay.
stop fighting, the battle's absolutely lost. You know, so I've got to keep pushing that.
So cleanup is your pet peeve. Okay. Let's go back to the phone lines. Okay, caller, you'll be the last call because I have more guests to come. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead. Kick it quick.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I want to ask the candidate, what if Kevin or mandates that newly elected city council persons only work part-time and only get like $100 a month? Will you still be willing to perform in that role?
If it was a full-time volunteer position, I would still take the role. I mean, it's what I do anyway. I'm a computer.
Dedicated assistant. One more question, Hodo.
Go ahead. Kick it quick, man.
All right, all right. What do you, I see sometimes Detroit police officers behind the counter at liquor stores even playing their own numbers at lottery machines. Is that legal and certainly is unethical? Wouldn't you agree, sister?
Unless they're on their lunch break.
Behind
That
the liquor
is
store,
inappropriate.
behind the liquor store counters. Are they
Well,
supposed
the
to be
people
like
who
that?
run the liquor store play their own numbers too.
Huh?
The people who run the liquor store play their own numbers in their own store.
Yeah, but we talking about Detroit police officers.
Well, the police department, the officers, they get perks at a lot of businesses. When you have officers around your property, you tend to have fewer problems. You know, they can go into restaurants and get free meals and things like that.
Yeah, but they kitchen to make their own food.
Yeah, he said they're not in the kitchen making their own food.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, then.
You know,
All right, man. Thank you for your call,
I mean,
man.
it's a perk that they get from the business. That's what they
Now, one
shouldn't-
thing. What about this thing about police officers going to the stoplight and tapping it and keep going? Have you seen that?
I've seen that.
I know.
I
and
get a ticket when I do things like that.
So what about them doing those kind of things and they're not on the way anywhere? Because when you pull up a little further, you see them parked over to the side chilling.
Right. Yeah, they need to stop doing that.
How, as a city council person, even though you wouldn't be over
That
the
would be
police
the
department.
police chief's responsibility to
Yeah.
remind them that that's inappropriate, even though they are
Now, say
the
for
law
instance,
enforcers,
in-
they have
in
to abide
District
by the
3,
law as well.
Even though you're, again, that's not your job, but if you saw it, would you write down some plates and some tag numbers and take it to the police chief?
I would.
Okay.
I've seen postal workers smoking in the truck, and I called. I'm like, are they supposed to be doing that?
As long as they ain't dropping the ashes on the mail. No, I'm just
You are
messing.
not supposed to smoke in
I
state
don't
or
smoke,
federal
so I don't
vehicles.
care. But give them your contact information and, you know, if they want to help you, that kind of thing, and your website. And thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, sir, for
And
having me.
for being my first city council candidate for this term.
And the only one you vote for, right?
I hadn't made a decision. I have to interview everybody.
I got to
don't
get
know-
it in there.
I can't say that, but
Okay.
all right.
My name is Francine Adams.
Thank you again.
You can reach me at 313-407-9577. That is my cell phone number. I do answer, and if I can't answer, I do call back. Our website is electfrancine, Francine, Adams, ADAMS.info. The email address is electfrancineadams@live.com. Our campaign office is at 2328 East 7 Mile Road between Conant and DeQuinder, across from Solomon's Temple.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Adams, for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to keep it moving. We have a band in the studio, the Circle Band, and they're gonna draw a circle around y'all with their music.